One of the most confusing parts of recovering from chronic pain and illness is that sometimes it feels like things are getting worse. We think healing should look a certain way, that our pain should lessen and our symptoms should feel better. But these are rarely the first things to change. And the changes that do happen early on can make us feel like we're heading off course when really we are right on track. In this video, I want to walk you through 5 signs that you are actually healing, even if it doesn't feel like it. Hi, I'm Ellen. I'm a chronic pain counselor with a background in physical therapy. I used to have full body eczema and chronic neck pain, which I healed by working with my mind and my nervous system. I experienced all of the signs that we're going to talk about today on my healing adventure, and I felt just as confused as you probably do right now. Sign number 1, you feel more lost. You may have read books or watched videos on chronic pain recovery through working with the nervous system, and it makes sense to you. It looks like the right path. But then when you actually start, suddenly things feel really messy and confusing, and nowhere near as straightforward as the YouTuber talking head person made it sound. Whatever approach you were using to try and heal before may not have worked, but at least you knew what to expect. The old path felt familiar, even if it didn't lead you where you wanted to go. But when we start changing our nervous system, the whole point is that things are going to feel unfamiliar. Choosing to relax instead of pushing can feel completely backwards. Choosing to make peace instead of trying to fix things can feel downright scary. And choosing to be kind to yourself instead of critical can almost feel, in a way, irresponsible, like you're not doing enough. And that's going to trigger feelings of instability and disorientation, and you may feel more lost than ever. Even if it looks right on paper, it can feel like you're going down the wrong path, when in fact, this is the very first sign that you have started to break your own nervous system patterns and mental habits, which is exactly what we want. Sign number 2, your symptoms may feel like they're getting worse. Now, I don't mean this in the way that some detox gurus say, you have to cleanse, it'll get worse while the toxins are coming out, push through the pain. No, I don't mean that this work will literally make your symptoms worse. What I mean is that when you turn your attention inwards and you start changing the way that you interact with your body and your mind, that can be disruptive. You may feel more tired. Your muscles may ache more. You may feel more sensitive physically and emotionally. A huge part of healing your nervous system and recovering from neuroplastic pain is becoming aware of your internal world, your mind, your thoughts, and physical sensations. This is particularly the case if you spent many years pushing through your pain, ignoring it, distracting yourself, or trying to avoid it. The moment that you slow down, the pain may flare up purely because there's been a change in the status quo. You're changing a momentum that you've probably had going on for years. If you've been swimming in one direction for years, you create a whirlpool with your own momentum. And when you stop swimming or you change directions, there's going to be some churn. And that churn can feel very disheartening and painful, which is why I always encourage people to take this slowly and steadily. This isn't a race. This churn is temporary. Just keep your head above water and this will pass. I have to change my hair. It's too much. I desperately need a haircut. Ugh. Yeah, that's better. Okay, that'll do. Okay, if you're resonating with this and you want more help on this path of neuroplastic pain and illness recovery, I've created a free email series to do just that. I think you're gonna love it, so check it out in the description below. Number 3, what are we up to? 3. Number 3, you're feeling a lot more emotion. When you start looking inward rather than outward, it's normal, expected, even wanted that you'll be surprised at how much emotion is in there. It can seem like you're getting worse, you're feeling less stable, feeling more erratic. You might be feeling irritable, raw, sad, anxious. This is all normal. These may be emotions that you've spent a long time pushing through or ignoring or repressing. I had a client that when she started this work, she was taking herself for short walks. Not really for the sake of exercise, but for the sake of giving herself some time and space just to think and be present. And she said that on these walks, she'd see something beautiful, like a flower or a sunset, and she would feel this deep sadness well up inside her and she would cry. And this can be such a powerful moment if you can allow that sadness or whatever that feeling is to just come up without needing to analyze or figure it out or manage it. That can be a really powerful way of allowing your body to let go in a way that doesn't need effort. I think what happens here is that as we give ourselves more space, more time, more gentleness, those emotions find a path of least resistance to come out. And that may come in the form of tears. Sometimes it can come even as anger or irritation. And the less we resist these feelings, the less we try and keep them buried, the smoother and easier this process is. So if you're finding yourself feeling more raw, sad, anxious, irritable for seemingly no reason, take that as a sign that you are headed in the right direction and just be really easy with yourself. This will not last forever. These big emotions will come and go like waves, getting smaller and easier to manage with time. Another sign that you're on the right path and your nervous system is becoming more regulated is that you become more or less social. This is an interesting one because what may be counterproductive for one person may actually be the perfect thing for another person. Your pain or illness may have stemmed from giving too much and not setting any boundaries and allowing your energy to be drained. If you tended to bury your emotions in people pleasing and being very active and doing things and saying yes to everything, then you may notice that as you slow down and you start to allow your nervous system to downregulate, you may feel less drive to do those social things that you once used as a coping mechanism. So you might find yourself withdrawing as you start working with your body and mind. You may say no more often or leave the party earlier. But if, on the other hand, your pain and illness kept you so anxious and so afraid or so incapacitated that you couldn't go out, you may find yourself actually craving more human interaction. For me, my symptoms isolated me. I lost all confidence. Even when I wasn't in an active flare-up, I didn't want to be social because I was just too worried that something would go wrong, that something would flare me up. I became a shell of my former self. So as I started to let go of some of that fear and process the emotions that were driving me into this deeply protective state in the first place, I actually found myself more open to seeing other people and trying new things, even before my symptoms improved. Isolating yourself can be destructive, but so can relying on social interaction to avoid your own feelings. So gauge this for yourself. Notice, does this urge to be more or less social feel like relief? Does it feel like something that my body is calling for in times of peace? Or does it feel like I'm trying to escape something or cover something up? Only you can know. Last one, unlike sign number 4, which could look different depending on how your illness started and where you're at, I think this last sign is a little more universal. You tolerate less bullshit. This might sound unrelated to chronic pain, but it is deeply related. Because so often a big thing that drives our nervous systems and our bodies into this chronically protective and hyperstimulated, churned up and tight place is partly putting up with just too much bullshit. When you've spent so long sacrificing your happiness and peace for a job or a person or whatever it is, and then you start to change that. You start to get a taste of what it feels like to put yourself first, to set those boundaries, to choose happiness, to choose peace. The old paradigm, the old status quo, the old rules start to feel intolerable. The only reason they were tolerable before is because they felt familiar, because it didn't feel like you had a choice. But when you start practicing finding joy, even when you're still sick or in pain, people who drain that joy become far less appealing to be with because you made this a conscious choice. Now you're starting to realize that you can give yourself permission to walk away. And as you go further down this path of listening to your body, listening to your brain's fight and flight response, you'll notice that you're going to start to want to walk away earlier and earlier. Now, this doesn't mean I'm saying ditch people or don't have compassion or don't let people have a bad day. But when you're feeling that anxiety in your chest, that tightness in your neck, the tingle on your skin, instead of pushing through for the sake of social expectation or habit, you're going to notice these signs and take them for what they are. They are your body telling you that you don't feel safe, that you don't want to be here. Whether addressing that looks like walking away or standing up for yourself, or going to the bathroom for 5 minutes, or maybe even just changing the subject, it doesn't matter. If you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, I'm becoming less tolerant. No, you're just suddenly more self-aware and unwilling to sacrifice your peace and your health. Pat yourself on the back because you are headed in the right direction. Those are 5 signs that you are on the right track, even if this track feels a little twisty and turny at times. Check out the free email series if you've noticed these signs and they felt confusing. I talk a lot more about bumps in the road and how to handle them. I'll be here every step of the way, sending you lots and lots of love, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.